مرحبا أهلا وسهلا بكم في قناة يسرنا الآيلتس. واليوم إن شاء الله راح أشارككم 570 كلمة اللي هي الورد ليست اللي يحتاجها كل طالب للنجاح في الآيلتس بامتياز بإذن الله. هذا الفيديو راح يكون باللغة الإنجليزية، فالاستفادة تكون دبل، من جهة تسمع الكلمات وشرحها وتتعود على سماع اللغة الإنجليزية، وكذلك راح أشارككم بإذن الله رابط الكلمات 5000 كلمة وال570 كلمة أيضا على قناتي في التليجرام. ويلا بينا نبدأ.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at some really essential vocabulary for the IELTS exam.
That's right. And this is specially tailored for beginner-level Arab students. If that's you, you're definitely in the right place.
We want to help you tackle those words that pop up often and can really boost your understanding and, well, your score.
Exactly. And the material we're drawing on today, it's fantastic. It comes from Mr.
Yes, Mr. فرجاني. He's a very experienced IELTS instructor, taught for years in Abu Dhabi, right here in the UAE.
And he also created the Yasana IELTS YouTube channel, which is, a great resource specifically for Arabic speakers prepping for the IELTS.
He put together this amazing list,
which translates to the 570 most important academic words for IELTS PDF. It's a really solid list.
Think of it as like a shortcut, getting you familiar with those core academic English words you'll definitely see on the test.
We're going to go through them, explain the meaning, give the Arabic translation from Mr. Sublist, and show you how they're used in a sentence.
So you get the meaning and the context. Make them much easier to learn, I think.
Definitely. And Mr. فرجاني has organized them into sublists based on, well, how often they show up. So we'll start with sublist 1. These are the absolute high priority ones.
Okay, let's jump in. Sublist 1. First word, analyze.
Arabic is Arabic. And the example sentence. She learned to analyze reading passages to identify key points.
See, right away, analyze is crucial for reading, breaking down the text.
Yeah, figuring out the main ideas and writing task 1 as well, right? Analyzing data.
Absolutely. Looking at charts, graphs, finding those trends. You need to analyze that information.
Okay, next one. Approach.
Arabic.
Example.
Her structured approach to essay writing improved her scores.
So approach here means like her method, the way she tackled the essay.
Makes sense. And you might talk about your approach in speaking, maybe, different ways to solve something.
Exactly. Or describing a method in writing. Yeah. Very useful word.
Then we have area.
Yeah. Area in Arabic.
Example. The essay focused on the area of environmental conservation.
So area meaning a subject, a topic, a field of study.
Right. You'll see that a lot in reading passages. Different subject areas.
And you can use it yourself when talking about areas of interest or maybe areas you need to work on.
Okay, next.
Assess.
Arabic. Example. The teacher will assess her progress with practice tests.
So assess means to evaluate, to judge something.
Like how your IELTS essay is assessed, maybe.
Precisely. Or when reading about how results are measured or judged, you'll see assess or assessment.
Good one. Okay, assume. Example. No. She should not assume the test will be easy without preparation.
Yeah, so assume is like taking something for granted, believing it's true without actual proof.
Important for critical reading, I guess? Spotting assumptions in an argument?
Definitely. And a reminder for your own writing, don't just assume things, support your points.
Next word. Authority. The example is, citing an authority in her essay strengthened her argument.
Okay, so authority here isn't just about power. It's about an expert, a reliable source.
Ah, right. Like citing a university professor or a well-known study?
Exactly. Recognizing that meaning is key in academic stuff. Using authorities makes your own argument stronger too.
Okay. Available.
Oh, see? Pretty common word.
Example. Many online resources are available for IELTS preparation.
Just means something you can get or use. Straightforward.
But essential helps you understand what options you have.
Yep. Study materials, courses, whatever.
Next, benefit. Example. Regular practice will benefit her overall IELTS performance.
A benefit is a good thing, an advantage, a positive result.
So understanding the benefits of, say, a certain policy you read about.
Or talking about the benefits of something in your speaking or writing task.
Okay, concept.
Example. Understanding the concept of coherence is key to essay writing. A concept is basically an idea, often an abstract one, like coherence or globalization or sustainability.
You encounter loads of concepts preparing for IELTS.
For sure. Understanding them, explaining them, it's fundamental.
Next up, consist.
Oh.
Example. The IELTS test consists of 4 main sections.
Consist means what something is made up of, its parts.
Simple but vital for understanding structure, the test structure, and essay structure.
Anything being described, really.
And then there's constitute.
Similar but slightly different feel sometimes.
Example. Her efforts constitute a solid foundation for success.
Yeah, see? It also means to form or make up something, but often implies creating that thing, like these elements constitute the whole.
Got it. Like the parts that form the basis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, context. Really important, this one.
Super important. In Arabic.
Example. Using vocabulary in the right context improves her writing.
Context is everything around a word or situation that gives it meaning.
You can't just learn words in isolation, right?
Yeah.
You need the context.
Exactly. Crucial for reading, listening, understanding nuances.
Okay, contract. Example. She signed a contract to join an IELTS preparation course.
So, a formal agreement, usually written legal.
Probably won't need to write one in the test.
Probably not. But you might read about situations involving contracts. Good to know.
Next, create.
Okay.
Example. She aims to create a compelling argument in her essay.
Just means to make something, bring it into existence.
Like creating solutions, creating art, creating an argument.
Yep. Basic but versatile verb.
Data.
Example. The task required analyzing data from a chart.
Data is just information, facts, figures.
Hugely important for writing task 1. All those charts and graphs are data.
Absolutely. Describing data, analyzing data, core skill there.
Okay. Define.
Yeah.
Example. She must define key terms clearly in her essay.
Define means to explain the meaning of a word or term.
You might need to define something in your essay or understand a definition in a reading passage. Clear definitions are key to good academic writing.
Next, derive.
Example.
She derived useful strategies from her teacher's feedback.
Derive means to get something from something else, like the strategies came from the feedback.
So understanding where conclusions or ideas come from.
Exactly. Tracing things back to their source or origin.
Okay, distribute.
Example.
The teacher will distribute practice tests to the class.
Means to give things out, spread them around.
Fairly simple. Might see it in instructions. Economy.
Big topic.
Example. The essay topic was about the global economy's impact.
Economy. The system of money, trade, industry in a country or the world.
Yeah, it comes up a lot in IELTS. Reading, writing task 2.
Very common theme. Worth knowing vocab related to it.
Same for the next one. Environment.
Definitely.
Example. Protecting the environment is a common IELTS essay topic.
Refers to our natural surroundings or the conditions we live or work in.
Another massive IELTS topic. Environmental problems, solutions.
You'll almost certainly encounter it. Good to be prepared.
Establish.
Yeah.
Example. She worked to establish a consistent study routine.
Establish means to set something up, create it on a firm, lasting basis.
Like establishing a routine, establishing a company, establishing rules.
Right. It implies stability, permanence.
Next, estimate. Example. She learned to estimate time needed for each test section.
To estimate is to make a rough guess or calculation, not exact.
Important for planning your time in the exam.
Crucial. And you might read about estimated figures or predictions in passages.
Okay, evident. Example. Her improvement was evident after 2 months of study.
Evident just means clear, obvious, easy to see.
So if the text says something is evident, there's clear proof for it.
Exactly. Look for the supporting information.
Export.
Related to economy again.
Example. The essay discussed the export of goods in global trade.
Export is sending goods out of a country to sell. Import is bringing them in.
Good distinction. Part of trade vocabulary.
Yep.
Factor. Example. Time management is a key factor in IELTS success.
A factor is something that influences a result or situation. A contributing cause.
So identifying the factors behind a trend or problem.
Exactly. What are the key factors? Important question.
Finance.
Another money-related word.
Example. The essay explored the finance of renewable energy projects.
Finance is about managing money funding, investment, banking, etc.
Could come up in topics about business, government spending.
Broad area.
Formula. Example. She used a formula to structure her task 2 essay.
Now, formula can be mathematical, like EMC. But here,
It means like a set method, a standard way of doing something.
exactly, a plan or structure you follow consistently. Very relevant for essay writing structure.
Good point. Okay, function.
Example.
Understanding the function of each section helped her prepare.
Function is the purpose of something, how it works, what it does.
Like the function of the heart, or the function of a paragraph in an essay.
Right. What's its job? What role does it play?
Identify. Example. She learned to identify main ideas in reading passages.
Identify means to recognize something, to pick it out.
Super important for reading comprehension. Identifying keywords, answers, main points.
Absolutely critical skill.
Income.
Yeah, more economics.
Example. The essay discussed income inequality in modern societies.
Income is the money you earn, usually regularly from work or investments.
Comes up in social issues, economic topics.
Frequently.
Indicate.
Example.
Her scores indicate significant progress in writing.
Indicate means to show, to signal, to point something out.
Like, the data indicates a trend, or results indicate success.
Exactly. Helps you interpret signs and information.
Individual.
Yeah.
Example. Each individual must develop their own study plan.
Just means a single person separate from a group.
Basic, but you'll see it used to contrast with society or group.
For sure.
Interpret. Example. She practiced interpreting data for task 1 writing.
Interpret means to explain the meaning of something, to understand it in a particular way.
Like interpreting results, interpreting a graph, interpreting someone's behavior.
Yes. Especially important for task 1 data and understanding complex ideas in reading.
Involve.
Example.
The course will involve daily practice tests.
Involve means to include something as a necessary part.
So knowing what's involved in a process or activity.
Pretty straightforward.
Issue.
Very common academic word.
Example. The essay addressed the issue of climate change.
An issue is an important topic or problem that people discuss or argue about.
Yeah, lots of IELTS essay questions are about current issues.
Definitely. Understanding the issue in the question is the first step.
Labor, or labor in U.S. English.
Right.
Example. The reading passage discussed labor market trends.
Labor generally means work, especially physical work, or the workforce, the people available for work.
Another one related to economics and society topics.
Labor shortages, labor rights, etc.
Legal.
AGIO. Example. The essay explored legal measures to protect the environment.
Legal just means related to the law.
So, legal systems, legal action, legal rights.
You might encounter it when discussing government actions or social problems.
And related to that, legislate.
The verb form.
Example. Governments legislate to address social issues, as discussed in her essay.
To legislate means to make or pass laws.
Important for understanding government and policy discussions.
Indeed.
Major.
Example.
Writing is a major component of the IELTS test.
Major means important, large, significant. The opposite of minor.
Helps you identify the key parts or main points.
Right. What are the major factors, the major challenges?
Method.
Inju. Similar to approach.
Example. She adopted a new method to improve her speaking skills. A method is just a way of doing something, a procedure or technique.
Like study methods, research methods, teaching methods.
Exactly.
Occur. Example. Mistakes often occur due to lack of preparation.
Occur simply means to happen or take place.
A common verb, good to know.
Yes.
Percent.
Example. A high percent of candidates struggle with time management.
Percent means out of every 100.
Absolutely essential for writing task 1 dealing with statistics.
Can't do task 1 without understanding percentages, fractions, proportions, and sometimes in writing too.
Period.
Yay.
Example.
Yeah.
She studied intensively during the period before the test.
A period is just a length of time.
Like a historical period, a period of study, a short period.
Common word.
Policy. Example. The essay discussed government policies on education.
A policy is a plan of action, a set of rules or guidelines adopted by a government, organization, or person.
So, environmental policy, economic policy, company policy. Right. Often comes up in task 2 topics.
Principle.
Example.
Okay.
Fairness is a key principle in IELTS scoring.
A principle is a fundamental belief, rule, or standard.
Like scientific principles, moral principles, the principles of democracy.
Helps you understand the basis or foundation of ideas or systems.
Proceed.
Oh, example. She will proceed to the speaking section after writing.
Proceed means to continue, to move forward, especially after stopping.
You might hear it in exam instructions, now proceed to the next section.
Or read about a process proceeding.
Process.
The noun form.
Example, the process of preparing for IELTS requires dedication.
A process is a series of actions or steps taken to achieve something.
Like a manufacturing process, the learning process, the writing process.
You'll read descriptions of processes. Maybe describe one in task 1 sometimes.
Require.
Example.
The test requires strong time management skills.
Require means to need something or make it necessary.
Helps you understand what's needed for success or for something to happen.
What are the requirements?
Research.
Yeah, big academic word.
Example, her essay included research on renewable energy sources.
Research is careful, systematic study to find out facts or information.
Essential for academic contexts. You read about research, might mention it in essays.
Understanding what research involves is key.
Respond.
Example, she learned to respond confidently in the speaking test.
Respond means to react, to answer, to reply.
Crucial for listening, responding to questions, and speaking, responding to the examiner.
And writing task 2 is responding to the prompt. So everywhere, really.
Good point. Okay, role.
Example.
Teachers play a key role in IELTS preparation.
A role is the part or function someone or something has in a situation.
Like the role of technology, the role of parents, the role of government.
Helps understand how different elements fit together.
Section.
Yeah.
Example. The listening section is challenging for many candidates. A section is just a distinct part of something larger.
Very relevant for IELTS, the 4 sections of the test.
Or sections of a reading passage, sections of an essay.
Sector.
Often related to economy or society.
Example. The essay discussed the education sector's growth.
A sector is a specific part of an economy, society, or area of activity.
Like the public sector, private sector, agricultural sector, tech sector.
Useful for categorizing parts of the economy or society.
Significant.
Means important.
Example. Her score showed significant improvement after practice.
Significant means important enough or large enough to be noticeable or have an effect.
More than just a little. A significant change, a significant factor.
Yes. Indicates importance or magnitude.
Similar.
Example. Her essay structure was similar to the model answer.
Similar means almost the same, but not exactly the same. Alike.
Important for comparison tasks. Finding similarities and differences.
In reading, writing task 1, comparing data, maybe even task 2.
Source.
Example. She cited reliable sources in her task 2 essay.
A source is where something comes from, especially information.
Like sources of energy, sources of information, news sources.
And citing your sources is key in academic writing, though maybe less formal in IELTS Task 2. Still, understanding reliability of sources is good.
Specific. Example. She focused on specific vocabulary for academic writing.
Specific means particular, clearly defined, not general.
IELTS often asks for specific examples or specific information.
And being specific in your own answers, rather than vague, usually gets better marks.
Structure.
Example. A clear structure is essential for a high-scoring essay.
Structure is the way parts are arranged or put together to form a whole.
Like essay structure, sentence structure, the structure of an argument, a building structure.
Understanding structure is vital for reading how is the text organized, and writing, organizing your own ideas.
Theory.
Example. The reading passage discussed theories of motivation.
A theory is an idea or set of ideas intended to explain something, often based on principles or evidence, but maybe not yet proven fact.
You'll definitely encounter theories in academic reading passages.
Economic theories, scientific theories, social theories.
And the last one for Sublist 1, vary.
Example.
The difficulty of test questions can vary widely.
Vary means to be different, to change.
So prices vary, opinions vary, Results vary.
Understanding variation is important for interpreting data and different viewpoints.
Wow, okay. That's Sublist 1 covered. A lot of really foundational words there from Mr. Ferjani's list.
Absolutely. Getting comfortable with those really builds a strong base. Now, we can't go through all 570 today, obviously.
No, definitely not. But let's dip into Sublist 2. Give people a feel for the kinds of words there. Still very important academic vocabulary.
Exactly. Same format. Word, Arabic translation from the list, and Mr. Ferjani's example sentence.
All right. First from Sublist 2, achieve.
Example.
She aims to achieve a band 7 in the IELTS test.
Pretty clear relevance there. Achieve means to succeed in reaching a goal.
Your personal IELTS goal. Okay, acquire.
Yeah.
Example. She worked to acquire new vocabulary for the exam.
Acquire means to gain or learn something, like acquiring skills, knowledge, or vocabulary.
Fundamental to learning, really. Next, affect. Note the A, not effect.
Good point. It's the verb.
Example. Stress can affect her performance in the speaking test.
To affect means to influence, to produce a change in something.
Understanding cause and effect relationships often involves the verb affect.
Right. What affects what?
Appropriate.
Well,
Example. She used appropriate vocabulary in her essay.
Appropriate means suitable, right, for the situation.
Super important in IELTS using appropriate tone, appropriate vocabulary, appropriate structure.
Yes. Is your language suitable for the task and context?
Okay, aspect.
Yes.
Example. She considered every aspect of the essay question.
An aspect is a particular part or feature of something.
Like looking at the different aspects of a problem or different aspects of life.
Helps you break down complex topics.
Speaking of complex, next word is complex.
Yes.
Oh.
Example.
Yeah. The reading passages often contain complex ideas.
Complex means complicated, having many interconnected parts, not simple.
You need to be able to handle complex sentences and ideas in IELTS reading and listening.
And maybe express complex ideas in writing and speaking.
Conclude.
Example. She must conclude her essay with a strong summary.
To conclude means to end something or to form an opinion after considering evidence.
Like concluding an essay or concluding from the data that...
Both meanings are relevant, especially the essay conclusion part.
Construct.
Example. She worked to construct a logical argument in her essay.
Construct means to build or create something, often carefully or systematically.
Like constructing an argument, constructing a building, constructing a sentence.
Yes, implies putting pieces together.
Evaluate.
Similar to assess.
Example. She must evaluate her strengths and weaknesses before the test.
To evaluate is to judge the value or importance of something. Assess.
You might be asked to evaluate something in task 2, or evaluate information you read.
Yes. Make a judgment about its worth or effectiveness.
Focus.
As a noun or a verb.
Example. She maintained focus during the listening section.
Focus is concentration, directing your attention.
Absolutely essential for the whole test. Maintaining focus.
And knowing where the focus of an argument or passage lies.
Impact.
Similar to effect, often used for strong effects.
Example. The essay discussed the impact of technology on education.
Impact is a strong influence or effect.
Common task 2 topic structure. Discuss the impacts of X on Y.
Very common.
Obtain.
Similar to get or acquire.
Example. She hopes to obtain a high score on the test.
Obtain just means to get something.
Maybe slightly more formal than get. Obtain results, obtain permission, participate. Example. She will participate in group discussions to practice speaking.
To participate means to take part in an activity.
Like participating in a discussion, participating in society. Active involvement.
Right.
Potential.
Wohin as an adjective or noun.
Example. She has the potential to excel with more practice.
Potential means the possibility of something developing or happening. Latent ability.
Like potential problems, potential benefits, or someone's potential.
Shows possibility or capability.
Relevant.
Example. She focused on relevant vocabulary for academic writing.
Relevant means connected to the topic, appropriate, pertinent, not off topic.
Crucial for IELTS answers. Keep your answers relevant to the question.
Don't go off on tangents. Address the prompt directly.
And finally, for our Sublist 2 sample, strategy.
Example. Her test-taking strategy improved her time management.
A strategy is a plan you make to achieve a specific goal.
Like having a reading strategy, a writing strategy, a time management strategy.
Absolutely vital for doing well in IELTS under timed conditions.
Okay, great. That gives a flavor of Sublist too. Again, really useful words.
Definitely. Now, there are more sublists in Mr. فرجاني's PDF, going down in frequency.
Right.
We don't have time for everything.
No, but maybe just a quick look at a couple from Sublist 3, just to round things out.
Sounds good. Let's pick maybe 2 or 3 key ones. How about alternative?
Good one. Alternative. Arabic.
And the example.
She explored alternative study methods to improve efficiency.
So alternative means another choice, a different option.
Useful for showing different possibilities or approaches in your writing or speaking.
Okay, one more. Maybe component.
Yeah, good one. Component. Arabic is the Jonas.
Example. Vocabulary is a key component of the writing section.
A component is just a part that makes up a larger whole. Like a component of a machine or a component of your score.
Understanding the different components of the test or components of an issue.
Exactly. Helps break things down. Excellent. So even just looking at these few examples from Sublist 1, 2, and 3, you really see how valuable this vocabulary is.
Absolutely. These aren't obscure words. They're the building blocks of academic English that Mr. فرجاني has identified as being frequent and important for IELTS.
And focusing on understanding the meaning and seeing how to use them in a sentence, like in the examples, that's the key, isn't it?
That's the method. Don't just memorize a list. Understand and practice using them.
So the main takeaway from this deep dive really is just how crucial building the specific type of academic vocabulary is for anyone serious about their IELTS score.
It really is. And again, huge thanks to Mr. Tawfeeq فرجاني for providing this focused material in his PDF. It's designed precisely to help Arabic speakers navigate this.
And listeners should definitely check out his Yasana IELTS YouTube channel for more guidance. It's a fantastic resource.
We highly recommend it. Keep building that vocabulary.
So maybe a final thought for our listeners to ponder. How might consistently learning and, more importantly, applying these kinds of academic words actually transform your confidence when you sit down for the real IELTS exam?
Ooh, that's a good one. It's not just about the score, is it? It's about feeling prepared, feeling like you understand and can express yourself effectively in that academic context.
Exactly. Something to think about as you continue studying. Maybe this motivates you to really dive into that full list and start using these words actively.
Hopefully so.
Well, thanks for joining us for this vocabulary deep dive.
Pleasure was mine. Good luck to everyone with their prep.